Alright, hello and welcome to Higher Ground Gaming's list of the top 100 board games. These are my top 100, I guess of all time, I guess you could say. At least the last maybe 10 years or so that I've been board gaming. But anyway, ID Gesture just did his 100 to 91 and 90 to 81 last couple of nights. And I figured I'd follow it up, and because I plan on getting with him and Phoenix Knight and Lower Slower Board Gamer and doing our top 50. I was going to do the top 100 with him, but he started on nights I was unavailable. But that's okay. I think top 50 will be cool. Top 100 might be with a bunch of guys might be a little bit too much, but top 50 should fit in that nice niche there. Now, just to get it started, I'm using my Screencast-O-Matic software, which I use to record all my baseball videos and everything too. I'm not a really OBS guy or whatever. I've tried different ones, and they don't seem to work for me. But anyway, so on my other computer, I've got my list up here, which I'm going to try to keep silent, but to refer to it just as I need to here. Let's see if I can get it to open again. But anyway, so this is going to be a combination of, regular board games, sports games, and I don't think I have any war games per se on it. So yeah, so those are your war gamers. Sorry. But I did get some inspiration from some war games, I guess you could say, like the Dan Vriesen games I do like. And if I get one, it'll definitely be on my top 100 there. Anyway, just as a consolation thing. I did have some honorable mentions, which I'm not going to... Let me see if I still have them here. And the reason that they're honorable mentions is because I haven't got them out of the shrink yet. In other words, I haven't played them yet, so I didn't... while I've seen many videos on them, I didn't think it was fair to put them on my list if I haven't actually physically played them yet, or at least played an adaptation on Board Game Arena or something like that too. But still, it's not the same. So I will mention those, and I will mention those because a lot of them, if not all of them, probably not all of them, but a good chunk of them probably will be in my top 100 games. So anyway, in fact, I've got one of them set up right now. So let me find my list here. Go to my Gmail. Let's see, where is it? Here. It's right here. Bear with me a second here. I had it set up, but there it is. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So some honorable mentions, which I don't have total. Well, I guess I could get the box for some of them. One of them I have set up right now, which I just got in, was a collector's edition of Outlive, which I'll show you the box. Maybe not. Let's get something behind it, so I don't want to break anything. But so this is Outlive Collector's Edition. Oops. So this game will most likely go into my top 100. Not sure exactly where. Probably top 50. Maybe 25 to 50, somewhere around there. If not, maybe a little higher, but right around that 25 to 50 range, I think will be there. But this is a survival game where you're trying to build a fallout shelter, and it's got some worker placement aspects of it, but with a unique twist. Your workers have different powers, which you can intimidate others to give you resources, and you're visiting different parts of a post-apocalyptic world. No zombies, but that's one of the reasons why I like it. All right, so that's Outlive. Let's see here. Seize the Bean, which I can get real quick. And I'll try to do this really fast because I know this isn't part of my top 100. But Seize the Bean right here. This is a game that I think holds the record for the longest Kickstarter from pledge to fulfillment. It was almost 5 years. But again, I'm a coffee guy, and this is basically you're running a coffee shop, and you have different kinds of customers coming in, and you can build upgrades and stuff like that in it. But really high production value in this game, but a lot of iconography, which isn't always the best iconography. So it's already probably demanding a reprint, and I haven't even got it out of shrink yet. But definitely could be a top 100 game for me. Probably, like I said, 50 to 75, maybe closer to the 100. But anyway, probably top 100. Frostpunk, the board game. I'm not going to get the box because it's a huge box, but I got it on Kickstarter just recently, and I've unboxed it. I've got all the little add-ons for it, all the little buildings and everything. If you're familiar with the video game, it's based on a video game, probably one of the best video game adaptations. Super hard game out of the box, but they are developing, I guess, scenarios. The designers are to make it a little easier to bring to the table. So yeah, Frostpunk, the board game. That's probably going to, I would say, maybe could be a potential top 25 game. Definitely, if not higher than that. Well, can't get higher than top 25, but maybe top 10, possibly. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't really played it yet, but we'll see. Let's see here. Ark Nova, which is a game I don't own, which is, a lot of people know it. You're basically building a zoo. A lot of people compare it somewhat to Terraforming Mars, although I mean there are some similarities with the combos and the cards, icons, iconography and stuff, but very different game to me. I still prefer Terraforming Mars, as you'll see in my list, but this is a game I haven't had. I've only had like a couple plays multiplayer, and I think I played it twice solo, so not enough plays yet, and I don't own it, so I didn't put it in my list. There are going to be some games that I don't own in this list too, just to give you a little more of an idea. Let's see here. Let's see. Marrakesh, which is by my favorite designer, Stefan Feld. As you'll see, I have probably, let's see, I think I made a list of how many I had on this list, but I didn't. Yeah, I've got, I think, 11 Felds on this list, Stefan Feld. So that's Marrakesh, which is part of his city collection, but it is, well, a lot of his city collection was a re-implementation of a lot of his popular games. This one isn't. This one is a unique game. Probably his most meaty and crunchy game, possibly of all time. And I know Gaming Rules used to love, what was it called? Trajan as his favorite Stefan Feld game, but this one surpassed that. So I'm a big Stefan Feld fan, designer of his designs, so I didn't want to put that on the list, but that is a potentially of being a top 10 game, maybe even top 5. But anyway, but again, I haven't played it yet. It's sitting in the box over here. I need to get it together. All the city collection games that I've got so far, 4 of them are still in the box, and I have to get those. So this is another reason why I wanted to do this list too, is because it would maybe motivate me to get these games to the table. And that's one of the things I have a problem with, is I get a lot of games, but I leave them in shrink for the longest time, because I like to do unboxing videos, and then they get buried, and I never, they get lost in the shuffle somehow, because I get new games on top of them. But anyway, yeah, one of my board game issues. Let's see, and a couple more. Actually, a few more. Three Sisters, which is kind of like another game on my list here, but I'm not going to tell you what that is. It's by the same mechanism. It's a roll and write, or flip and write, however you want to call it. We're doing crops. Kalimala, which is an older game, which has a really unique action selection mechanism. Tiny Epic Pirates, which is the only game I think in the Tiny Epic series on this list. But again, I haven't opened it yet, so I haven't played it. Princes of Florence, which is an older game, which you're building. What is it you're doing? You're building like little town areas, I guess you could say. And you're building like you're fulfilling different roles, role cards and stuff like that too. But it is a fun game. But again, I don't have that one on the list because I've got it off of eBay, but I haven't played it yet. Genotype, which is a science type game, which is basically you're like Mendel doing pea plants, and you're doing experiments, and it's a work replacement type game too, where you're trying to do different genes and genotypes and everything. So it's a sciencey game, but good educational game, but a fun game by a designer that's really good at doing those type of games. And lastly, Merlin Big Box, which is another Stefan Feld game, which is rondelle upon rondelle upon rondelle. It's the most rondelle game, which I'll explain a little bit more as I get into my list, because I do have a couple of rondelle games in this. But anyway, so that's enough blabbing there. That's about 10 minutes of blabbing. So I want to get into the actual list here, so I don't lose anybody. But okay, we're going to start with game number 100. And again, my criteria is it's going to be mostly probably Euro games. It's going to be some roll and writes, some sports games, and a little bit of area control games, although it isn't my favorite mechanism. But definitely rondelles will be in the game, and games with unique mechanisms. That's probably the best way of putting it. I love games that have a unique, some kind of draw to them, which makes it original or in a very small minority. But anyway, that'll be evident when I start my list, which is right now. Okay, so number 100, I'm going to give a little preview of it. It's not a very popular game. It's a game from 2010. It's a game I probably only paid around $20 for, probably. I think I might have got it off eBay, possibly. Not sure. I got it a long time ago. But it's at number 100, and it's got some really cool and I think unique mechanisms in it. Well, at least one unique mechanism, which I haven't seen in another game. And that is called, so let me find it here. That is called, you can see it there, Sealand. So Sealand, right here. Now, and what I'm going to do mostly is I have the box right here. So I will show you the box. Right, to prove that I have the game here. Oh no, and I put the game in upside down. That's a sin there. That's a board game sin. But anyway, it's a game called Sealand, and as you probably see right here, it's a game based in the Netherlands. It's windmills in the background, and what you're trying to do, and let me show you a picture on it. So Board Game Geek ranks it 1820, and only a 6.9, but again, to me, it's a hidden gem. It's by Gunther Bonkart, but Wolfgang Kramer, which you'll probably recognize from El Grande, and we did another popular game too that was up there too. But yeah, Wolfgang Kramer. He's a known designer, older designer. But let me just show you here. So hopefully you can see this okay. Let me zoom in a little bit. So this is basically the board right here. What it is the area to the left over here. I don't know if you can see my mouse scrolling over here, but to the left is where you're going to build your windmills, and you're going to lay a whole bunch of tiles there at the beginning of the game. You have two stacks, which are right next to this big rondelle here. One of them are windmills, and one of them are crops. And your goal is to build windmills and then build crops around them. And you're going to score for every windmill, all the crops around a windmill. If there are at least two different kinds, and I think it's 3 different kinds of crops in the game. So you're going to be placing windmills, and there's wooden windmills in the game right here, which are pretty cool. Which while you're building the windmill, that stays on there, but when you finish it, you take it off. So what's unique about this game is this rondelle system right here. So this black guy, this black figurine in the middle here, is kind of like your how are you going to choose tiles. So so it's going to go clockwise, and the first tile in front of you is going to be free, and then it's going to be 1 gold for the second one, and 3 gold, and 2 gold for the third one, and so forth. The first one's free, and then it's going to cost you money depending how far ahead you go in that circle. What's cool about this is that you don't actually have player money per se. The money is all on the wheel, on this outer wheel right here. And you start with, let's say you're the orange guy here. So because you're on the last space here, you're going to get, actually you could be on the space before it too. But you can spend there's 4 coins ahead of you. That means you can spend up to 4 coins in picking your tile in the middle here. And these tiles consist of windmills and then different kinds of crops. But anyway, so what's going to happen is that this guy the orange guy is going to say he spent, this is a 4-player game actually, say he wanted to go all the way up ahead, and say he wanted to, 1, 2, 3, this fifth tile right here, you wanted this crop right here, or whatever it is, he would have to move his pawn all the way to the front there, and then the last coin that's sitting there would be removed and put to the front of it, so it would keep moving forward and everything. And what's interesting enough is what happens is that the guy that goes next, say it's black, he would have not 3, but he would have 4 to pick next, because this coin went in front. So at the most you can ever spend is 5 coins, unless I don't think there's anything that breaks the rule. I don't believe. Oh, and the other game this guy designed, which people might remember, is Colosseum, which has a similar mechanism, which I'm going to describe in a little bit. Not to this wheel, but to something else in the game. But anyway, so yeah. So what happens is that when you take moves, it affects how much other players can spend and how much you can spend. It's really, really, really pretty cool. And you can go on another spot that somebody else is on too. So the market's constantly changing. One of the end conditions is for one of these, either the windmills or the crops run out. That's one of the end game conditions. Let me show you another picture on here. This is what's called the bishop, right? That's the not the bishop. That's the piece you move on the inner rondel. Let's see if I can find another one here. It's the back of the box here. These are the windmills right here you're going to place. So basically this is a pretty good example here. So what you're going to do is on a turn you can place your windmill, well, on a spot that's already there, or if you just bought a windmill, you place this windmill here, and that means you can actively build around it. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be buying or flipping, because there's going to be some upside down tiles that are already on here, which you don't know what they are. You don't know what the crop is. But in order to score here, you need to have, like, this wouldn't be a very good scoring mechanism here, because you need to have at least 2 different crops. And this looks like it only has roses. I think it's roses, tulips, and daffodils or something like that. You have to have at least 2 different crops, and then your score is going to be all the crop numbers all added together. And you're going to want to you're going to have to surround the windmill first. So this wouldn't score yet. But say you put a tulip here and another crop here, you would add all the tiles and their numbers together, including your windmill, and that would be your total score. Now, what's cool about that is, let me go back to the board here. Let's see, back to the original board. Is your score would be that many points. Would be that you'd scored that many points that you surrounded the windmill with, and you take your windmill off and score that many points. What you can do too, you don't have to do it, is so your score is basically going to keep being cumulative. There is a little let's see if I can find it here. I can't see it that well there. Let's see here. I don't know if they have a good picture of it. There is a little table. Let's see if I can find it here. They might not show it on the box. I might have to. Yeah, it's right here in this corner here. You can't quite see it, but basically what it is that whoever scores the highest number, surrounds one windmill, and say it was 25 points, you can put these little chits on the board to show that that's your highest windmill score. And at the end of the game, whoever scores the highest windmill, the highest windmill in the game will get 20 points. Second highest is 15, then it's 10, and then it's 5. So the top 4 windmills will score, and that isn't your score, but you'll get bonus points at the end to add to your score. So you'll have a cumulative score, and you'll have rewards for the highest for the highest windmill score. There's also another thing that comes up in the game, and let's see if they show it in here. They may not show it, but there's also these little bishops here, and the bishop will come to check out your. See this 5 right here. So that was a tile that was flipped, and it had a bishop on it. So if a bishop comes to check out your windmill there, you score extra victory points. And I think you can only score, there's only like 4 of them in the whole game, or 5 or something like that too. So whoever has the most bishops in the game, I think, scores extra victory points. Either that, or it's you get a flat extra amount of bonus points there. So this right here is actually a pretty good, it's still missing one on the corner here, but you would score all these points here. Now the 0 right here, this 0 is a barn, and that allows you to take extra turns. So that's pretty cool too. But anyway, I don't want to get this, it's getting too much into a review. But there is some, you can score off of what other people built. Like say there's 5 and 6 here, you can place a windmill here and then surround it there. So you can use other tiles that people placed and stuff too. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, so I'm just going to show you a few more pictures. And so this is kind of a game that's, you know, midway, probably in between. And then these green ones are tiles that haven't been flipped yet. But it's really kind of a cool, kind of an unknown game that not many people talk about anymore. It's 13 years old, but it's by Ravensburger, which is a popular game place. But see these right here, these are where you start with your windmills right here. So you're going to build from the central hub and then build out from there. You can put a windmill, I think, anywhere, I believe. Now, I may be wrong on that, but you're going to want to build out from here, most likely. And that's the full board right here. And the part with the bishops and the part with the little chits which scores your highest windmill, those are actually not part of the basic game, but I always play with them because the game itself is fairly light without them. But with those games, it has that just enough meat to them, I think. Not a heavy game by any means, but definitely a nice game with a really cool mechanism. This rondelle is super cool. And another end game condition is also when one of these stacks runs out, and or which I think probably happens at the same time, is these tiles run out in the middle here. Now this outer score here, this outer thing here, see how it has numbers here? That was another thing. Yeah, this will give you a thing. So the bishop scores you an extra 10 points, not 5. And then depending upon where you pick up, like see these coins here, the bishop. That's another thing too with the bishop. The bishop cannot score unless he meets or exceeds whatever the next victory point thing is around here. Like right now it would be 16. So the bishop has to score at least 16 in order to get those bonus points for the bishop. That's what it is. Yeah. Anyway, it's been a while, and these are the little chits here to the left that you put on the board to score your highest. I think it's either 2 or 3 you can score as your highest windmills, which will, like I said, which gives you a ranking system at the end of the game. And that little coin there is for somebody got a barn, and that allows them to take an extra turn, which can be really valuable. You can take turns back to back. But anyway, that is going to be my 100 game, and that is Sealand. All right, so let's move on to the next one. I got the right order here. Hopefully I do. Yep, it's going to be Cascadia, which is number 99. Hopefully I did this right. Yes, 99. Okay. So 99 is Cascadia, which is a cool, which I don't have the box for here. It's actually over at my friend's house because we play it fairly frequently, so it stays on the game table. It's a good, little bit more than a filler game, but it's a game where you're. Let me just go over the rankings here. So this is number 99 on my list. It's rankings 47 overall, so it's really highly ranked. Number 1 abstract game, which I think beats out Azul, and a 5 family game. But it's a ranked 8, so it's really high. But it's a really cool game, which you. So you have these different animals in the game. You have your bears, your elks, I think they are, your fish, your birds, and your foxes. And now this is set up, I believe, for a 3-player game because there's 4 tiles set up here, I want to say. So what this is, it's a tile laying game in which you're going to score for different combinations of animals depending upon these cards. And there's multiple cards of each kind which are going to score differently, but they score in different ways. Also, too, you notice the terrain types are different, so you're going to want to be joining terrain types, too. So at the end of the game, players with the largest and I think the second largest, depending upon the player count, in at least a 3-player game, will score for the largest contiguous terrain type. Like this right here would be the desert. So there's a bunch of, so there's one, and you have to touch on at least one edge. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and those are different. So I think 5 would be your desert type there. It's got a lot of mountains in there. But what you're going to be doing is each round, you're simply going to be taking a pair, a token, which is these animal tokens here, and those are in one bag, and these tiles are in stacks. So you're going to be taking a pair here. And the different icons on them right here are the different types of animals you can place on those tiles, and those are the only ones you can place on those tiles. What's cool about this game is you have these little pine cones here too, and that allows you to break some of the rules here. It allows you to grab say a bird and the first token kind of thing, so it allows you to switch up what you take, but these are also worth victory points in the game, so you don't really want to spend those unless you really have some good. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be building different groups and chains right here of the different animals, and the scorecards here will show you the larger, some want different shapes of animals, like the bears might want like 3 in a row, anything. These elks have to be probably maybe in a certain way too, like they have to be in a certain configuration. This one looks like the birds can't be next to each other, and the foxes, I believe, score for each unique animal surrounding the fox. Generally speaking, that's what it looks like here. Oh, each pair of animals, I think, on this one. Yeah, so this would score. So this fox right here would score 1. So this would have 1 pair, 2 pair. It looks like 3 pair around it. So that would give you a certain amount of victory points for that. But anyway, you're going to be building out this tableau. And there's another game that's similar to this called Calico. But Calico is more restricted because it has like a board around it and different objectives you have to get. This one you can kind of build in any direction you want to, depending upon what you have in your thing. But this is a really cool game. I played this to death. I played this with non-board gamers, and they like it a lot. In fact, it's a good gateway game potentially. But yeah, this is Cascadia, my number 99 game, and this one is by, just to show you a few more pictures. Yep. So different configurations you can have here. And these can be really tight games too. For a while this game was hard to find, but it's I think pretty much in stock. So this is a good example of how the elk score. Like I said, and I think these can be any shape. So 1 elk will score 2 points, 2 elks will score 5, and so forth. The foxes, this is for different animals surrounding the fox. Birds in different shapes, and fish like in a chain kind of thing, and bears, I think groups of 2 in this one. But yeah, that's Cascadia, my number 99 game, and great production work and everything, artwork on it too. Alright, so let's go on to number 98. So this is Pathfinder Adventure card game, and this is Rise of the Rune Lords, the base set. I do have Wrath of the Righteous, another one, but I haven't played it that much. But this is going to include all the Pathfinder games, and I think they came out with 3 of them for this series here. Let me go back here. 3 of them. There you go. 3 of them for the first implementation of it, and it's a deck building game. It's not a living card game. It's kind of like you got a finite set of games. You can buy expansions for it, so you can get different things like a paladin set or a sorcerer set or a I don't know, warrior set or a fighter or something like that, cleric set, and it adds cards from different categories. And what's going to happen is that you can play it either as a standalone, like scenario, or you can play a series of scenarios and make it kind of like a campaign. Your characters are going to level up, which is really cool. So let me show you some of the things in this game. Let's see here. So this is, it's a dice tray there. I want to show you kind of like a setup. So this is kind of a little bit of setup. So what you're going to be doing is, I don't think I have any of these paper things right here, but you got a certain character, or you can play as, it's a great solo game. You can play it multiplayer too, but I've only played it solo. but you can have like, it's generally recommended to have 2 or 3. 4 is a little bit much, but 2 or 3 characters that you run, and you're going to be building up these location decks, and depending upon the scenario you're on, usually there's like 4 or 5 location decks you're going to be building, and those, it depends upon the scenario you're working on. And what's going to happen is that you're going to have like decks with different items in it, and they tell you exactly what items, what kinds of items to put. Like you're going to have spells, you're going to have weapons, you're going to have different support characters in it, that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of dice rolling in this. So if you don't like dice rolling, it's a lot of skill checks and stuff in this game. But you're building up different decks of location decks, and you're going to be going through the deck, and you get a certain amount of turns. So I think it's 30 turns, I want to say, to complete a scenario. If you don't do that, then you fail the scenario. There are other ways to fail a scenario too. Your characters can die, depending upon whether or not they run out of cards. The number of cards you have out for them varies among the characters. Some characters you have a deck of 3. Well, not a deck of 3, but you have 3 cards out at one time, some 4, some 5, and that's kind of like their health meter. And if you ever run out of cards during a turn, and you're unable to fill them up on your next turn with what's in your deck, your character can die in that stuff too. Doesn't happen very often, but it is something that can happen. So let me kind of show you. Let me see if I can get a better picture here. Not the greatest picture here. There's a good one with the setup. So these are your characters right here. So it comes with characters. There's like different blessings you have. These are monsters and henchmen. So each boss is a boss in every scenario, and there's like 3 or 4 henchmen depending upon how many locations you have. And one henchman will go into each location, and the boss will go into a different one. So if you come across a henchman, you have to defeat it, and if you defeat it, you can kind of close the location. So you have to close the locations until you get to the boss. Now, if you get to the boss and there's other locations open, then if you defeat him, he'll run to a different location, unless you can temporarily close some of the other locations. But this right here to the left is a character card here, and it has different boxes you can check. At the end of the scenarios, you'll get bonuses for the characters, like an extra item, or a new item in it, and you're going to be picking up items as you go too, by doing skill checks and stuff too. It's kind of a little bit hard to explain, but it's a really cool system. I like it a lot. It does require a lot of time commitment, and is a lot of setup and everything too to the game. That's like the inside tray there. I want to see if there's I don't know, somebody must have made those. Let's see here if I can find a little bit better thing here. Trying to think. Trying to show you a setup of it. Actually, yeah, these are gives you an idea of how many cards. And this is kind of like how many cards are in the base set. That's a little custom insert there. And these are the little add-on packs you can get. I think when I got mine at a comic book store, I think, or down in Worcester, Mass. And I think it came with like 5 different. I didn't even know what it was, but I thought it looked cool, and so I picked it up. And had like 5 of these taped onto the outside. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is kind of a lot of organization in this game. They did come out with a newer version of this game, but it didn't really take, and I didn't really like the artwork and the way it was designed. I like this one better. But yeah, it's kind of like an idea of what the inside of the box looks like. But yeah, here's a good example of a card. So this is a monster you're going to fight. This is a villain. This is the actual villain. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to roll a 14 or above, and depending upon what weapon you use, you get a certain amount of dice. You can roll like D8s, D6s, D20s, all kinds of different things. And the more you can add cards to your weapon, and use multiple weapons depending upon what it is. And there's different rules you can use. You can tuck cards. You can get rid of cards totally in order to add different things to it. There's powers that they have, like this one. you automatically take 2 points of cold damage, which means you have to get rid of 2 of your cards in your deck. Different combinations of skills, and depending upon how proficient you are in different things, you're going to roll a d12 if you're really proficient in something, but you might not be proficient in something, so you only want to roll a d4. Like you might not be good at evading, so you can only roll a d4. There's different skill tests. This is a combat test. Because there's different, there's perception, there's wisdom, there's all kinds of different checks you can do. And then, this one requires a wisdom or perception 9 check. If you fail it, different things happen. But this is a villain, example of a villain here. Let's see if they give another example. These are blessings right here. Some of these are blessings. This one's a soldier, which you can add like dice to your thing. These are different weapons you're going to get. So basically a deck building. If you ever played a deck building game, it's kind of like that. You start out with a certain base deck, and it changes as you go. The progression of the game is really slow. Like you're not going to get a lot after each scenario. You're only going to get like one item or a little thing. So it's going to take a little time to build up your character. But anyway, that's my number. Let's see if I can get the box. Yeah, this is a monster right here, so it kind of gives you an idea what a combat card looks like. Yeah, actually, this is a good setup right here. So this has got all the different locations and this little star around here, and then, and again, you can go together and fight, like send 2 people to a location or just one, and you got to, depending upon what it takes to close the location, you're going to want to send different characters there too. But anyway, that is Rise of the Rune Lords Pathfinder Adventure card game. There it is. There's a playmat for it. You can get. I don't have that. Anyway, I think that's kind of a neat player-made deck there with a dice tower. You're going to be rolling a lot of dice. So if you don't like dice rolling, this game probably is not for you. All right. So that's enough of blabbing about that one. So let's go to number 98 here. All right, that was 98. Sorry. 97. Now this is a game I have. Let's see here. So the Pathfinder game, just to show you, right here. Boom. And then number 97. Space Base. So this is a game I got at my local game store when it was open. It's not closed now, unfortunately. It's a game called Space Base. Basically, it's a really cool game here, which I'll show you the actual BGG photos. But what you're going to be doing is you're going to be well, I'll show you. Let me see here. Better just to show you. But anyway, it's ranked 188 overall. Wow, it's still pretty high. Family 33. So it is on BGA. I played a ton of this on Board Game Arena, and to be honest, I played a lot more on Board Game Arena than I played in person, just because, and you'll see why in a second. These are, so basically your tableau is you'll start with a set of 12 cards with spaceships on them. And the coins on them right here are income. The little spaceships with the little rockets on them, those are victory points. And the little thing with the planet there, with the green planet, that's income. So you have 3 tracks here. You have a coin track, which is basically how much you can spend on new cards. So what we're going to be doing is if you get a new card, you're going to be taking a card and flipping it and putting it underneath. So you get, what's cool about this game is you get income on your turn, but these flip cards, you get income if you roll certain dice combinations 1 through 12, 2 through 12 on, actually, yeah, combinations 2 through 12, but you can roll 1 through 12. You'll see in a second. I'll explain that in a second. But you're going to be tucking cards underneath here. And the cool thing about it is, like I said, you're always engaged. You're going to be scoring in other people's turns too, which is a really cool thing. But anyway, you have an income. You have your amount of coins you get, and then you have an income level, which is kind of interesting. But I'll explain that a little more in a little bit. And then you have victory points, and I think it's 40 victory points you have to get to. Yeah, it is 40 in order to win the game. But as you can see, setup can be kind of not a nightmare, but basically you got a player board, and you're going to set, and everybody's got the same 12 cards to start with. There's different powers on the cards. There's powers that will let you either raise the dice level or lower the dice level. I think it's just mostly raise, but and there's other cards on here which allow you to swap cards to different sectors. but it's kind of hard to see. But on the left top side of the card is how much the card costs from the market, and then on the right is what number slot it goes into, like 1 through 12. Let's see if I can show you a little bit better here. Yeah, this is a little bit better view of it. So these are your cards 1 through 12. He's tucked 2 cards underneath his 1 and another card underneath his 2. So if an opponent rolls, you roll 2 6-sided die, and you can either use the die together, like say you rolled a 1 and a 2. You can either use it together as a 3, which this guy wouldn't want to do because he doesn't have any in this 3 slot, or you can use the dice individually, a 1 or a 2. The main player who rolled the die in his turn will have a choice of taking a 1 or a 2 on the blue part of the thing right here, and then the 3 would be would just be 1 coin here on here. So he would probably go for a 1 and a 2 because he's got more scoring opportunities there. The red, like I said, is scored on other people's turns. The little cubes on it, if you roll a certain amount of a certain number on both your turn and somebody else's turn, it grants you special powers to move the dice total higher, to swap cards, different things like that. But it's got a lot of cool things going on in this game. And these cards can get a mess in the actual regular game. That's why I prefer to play this on Board Game Arena, because it's set up and it's so easy on that. You don't even have to set up anything. And this one can be a nightmare too to set things up. So you have a market here in the center here. Level 1, level 2, level 3 cards. So level 1 cards I think cost up to 7 coin, or 6. I think 6 coin. Level 2 cards are some 6 to 8 coins, and then the level 3 cards are anything, I think 9 to 14 or something like that. And they're all obviously more powerful cards. These yellow cards down below, instead of taking a card here, you can spend a certain amount of coin and you get a certain amount of victory points, which are written in yellow here. But those permanently block off sites you can't add any more cards to. So you don't want to do these. These are kind of like end game scoring cards. You want to get more towards the middle of the end of the game. But very fun game. Let's see if I can show you something else. Let's see here. Yeah, this is another thing in the market here. Yeah, here we go. Here's a better thing too. So for basically this cut, they're a lot more expensive too. So they range from 9, I think, to 45 is the highest. 42. So in other words, if you bought this for 9 coins, you would have to put this in the 1 slot, and it would block your 1 slot, but you get permanent 3 victory points in it. And these spaceship really mean nothing, but the rulebook kind of went overboard and labeled all these spaceships in the back of the book, and I don't know why, but they all have specific names and everything too, which mean nothing, but it's kind of a wasted thing. But I guess if you're really geeky, and you want to know what spaceships you just built, you can do that too. Yeah, so these are another thing too. Again, it shows you what's on top. And these right here on the bottom here, these ones are only once. So what you're going to be doing is, say you got a 1 card, you're going to be taking this card, flipping it upside down, and tucking it underneath here. And again, you can tuck these limitlessly high, so you can score a lot of points on other people's turns, which again is a real cool thing. So just to quickly go over what this is right here. This is your income. Your how much money you get each turn, and your income. Now the difference between them is you have to spend all your money on 1 turn. So say if you bought something for 10 coins, but it only costs say 5 coins, you would still go all the way down to 0, and you'd go all the way down to wherever your income level is. That's why you want to build up your income, because if you don't build up your income, you're always going to go back down to 0 after you buy a card, no matter how much it costs. But if you build your income up, your starting coins for the next round are going to start, say it was built up to 8, it would start off at 8. Again, it's kind of hard to explain here, but it's basically you want to build up your income too. So it's kind of a balance between that. But you got to pay attention to where other people are in the victory points thing too. So, all right, so that is Space Base. My number 97. So I got to get going on this. All right. Probably going way over. So let me just, I'm going to pause it for a second and get right back to it. Let's just see here if I can pause it. Maybe I can't. All right, and I just realized I got to get going because I'm I'm taking way too much time. Okay, so the next game is a Stefan Feld game, the first Stefan Feld game in here, called In the Year of the Dragon. And this is a very tight, can be ruthless game in which you're, let's just see what it's rated here. It's 7.3. It's rated 381 overall, so it's a top 500 game. 2 to 5 players. There is no solo mode that I know of in this one, but there may be one now on BG. on BGG I just haven't checked out. But it's by my favorite designer, Stefan Feld, and it's a game with a lot of different things. You're going to be hiring different workers. You're going to be building a tableau. So this is basically how it works. You have these different areas in here, which there's different cards in here, and these come out in a different order every time. And notice there's groups. There's a group of 2, another group of 2, and then a group of, I think, 3. I think that's how it's supposed to be. But so turn order is very important in this game, which is the turn order track right here. So if you're first, you get to put your, say the green player put his, he wanted to get some money, he get money on here. If another person wanted to go in here and either get money or get this food one right here, he would have to pay the first, I think he has to pay, I'm not sure if he has to pay them. I think it's the bank. He pays it to the bank. But yeah, but that player would have to pay that much to get food. This track right here, turn order track, is determined upon what workers you hire right here, these worker tiles, which you're going to be putting into buildings. So the higher the number on the track here, the less powerful the worker is, but the more he'll move on the turn order track. So you're going to hire a worker, two workers to start with, and then you're going to be doing one worker each round after that. Again, that's going to determine your turn order and what actions you can do. Let me just show you some things here. So let's see if I can get a good, yeah. So this is a good example here. So up top here, these are your different, the Japanese buildings there. I can't think what they're called, but these are different level buildings, and depending upon how many levels a building is right here, those are how many workers you can put underneath it. So in this case, this guy can put 3 in this one, 2 in this one, and you have to hire a certain, like this guy, a construction worker, and take that construction action in order to build extra levels on your building. 3 is the most you can have here. This right here on the bottom here is an event track, and different events are going to happen throughout the game. This is what makes the game brutal. The first 2 rounds, it's peaceful, nothing happens, lets you build your engine, but then there'll be famines, there'll be fireworks celebrations, there'll be giving tribute to the emperor, there'll be illness that comes, and there's 2 of each, I think, and then the Mongols will come and raid. So you have to have certain workers at certain levels, or be the most in a certain level in order to defeat those different events. And these events can be brutal. If you're last in those events, or you can't meet those like tribute and stuff like that, you start to lose your workers right here too. Also too, if you can't feed your workers, you only need 1 food per building, but if you can't feed your workers, you start to lose workers too, and workers are worth victory points at the end. And again, they each all have different powers. Some will help you, like the army here. Some here give you money. Some give you fireworks. This doctor is a level 2 doctor. He gives you protection against the plague, different things like that. But this has a lot of nasty stuff and can be very cutthroat depending upon who you play with. And most of the time it is cutthroat. Money's really tight, but it's still a great game. But the reason it's not higher is because of that just extreme tightness too. And each round, these cards down below here are going to be different workers you can hire, and different extra victory points you can get through doing certain things. Let's see if I can. So those are your player markers there. So this is set up. This is probably a better thing, but this is set up for, I think, for a 3-player game. So you have, no, actually a 4-player game. So you only have 3 areas in here. So if you have player number 4, you better have some money or else. Now you can always pass and get 3 coin, but then you don't want to be passing this because different events happen and you want to be able to be prepared for the events. This is a better look of the what the gondolas, the buildings look like too. But still a very fun game, but very tight and can be a very punishing game. There you go. All right, and those are different workers in the buildings there too. Okay, so that is In the Year of the Dragon, and that game's a little bit older game too. I think it's from around 2013. I think it said on the list. So let's see here. In the Year of the Dragon. That's actually even older, 2007. That was one of Stefan Feld's first games, but still an oldie but goodie. See, I ever rated a 9. All right, so let's go to the next thing. I want to move my camera here because I'm going to get in the way of my thing here. All right, so that is my number 96 in the Year of the Dragon. All right, so number 95. Is going to be Fleet, the dice game. I'm no, sorry, not Fleet, the dice game. Fleet, the card game, actually. It's a game where you're going to be, of course, fishing, catching different types of fish, and very popular game. I have most of the expansions, I think, in it, but I'm going to be showing you 2 of the ones that I have. These includes all the Fleet games. So let me just show you the boxes. So it's a small box game. Fleet, right here, not very big. And this is actually the Arctic, and then Arctic Bounty right here. The main reason I got this one is it added some more fish, but it also added a solo mode. Didn't have a solo mode before that. But there's other implementations too, called Wharfside and stuff like that too, which I have. But these are my 2 probably favorite ones here. So let me just show you. What this is. Fleet, the Fleet, the card game. So these are different buildings you can buy here. Let me just see here. So basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to have it's going to be, let me show you, see if I can show you the setup here. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this is kind of a setup for the game. Never mind these people, but you have your 4 different contracts above which you're going to be collecting. And it's a game of fulfilling different contracts by catching different types of fish. There's a market in the middle. Let's see if I can show you a little bit better thing here. Yeah, this is a better thing right here. So what you have here is you have a it's kind of a weird setup, but you have let's see, it's probably a better way to set up here. It's kind of hard to get a good picture here. Let me see. I don't really have a good picture of it, unfortunately. I can find it here anyway. But basically what you have is you have a market of fish. You have a north, an east, and a west market. It's a little bit better, I guess. But you have these contracts in the middle, and on either turn you can either grab a contract or you can grab fish from a market. There's 3 cards for each fish market. I'll do the bit, yeah. 3 cards for each, either the east or west dock, and you're going to be putting, as you can see here, this different fish. Actually, you know what? I'm getting this confused with another Fleet game, which is Wharfside. So never mind what I just said there. You're going to be getting contracts, and you're going to be getting different types of fish. There are markets for the fish. You're going to be launching boats in this one. Yeah, I'm confusing this with the Fleet, the Wharfside game. But anyway, this game right here, that's why I couldn't find the right pictures. You're going to be launching boats, and the more boats you launch of a different kind, like say sardines or tuna or I don't know, just different types of fish. You get lobster. You're going to be launching boats, and you have to, underneath you have to supply a captain for each one. I'm also going to be getting income from the fish cards and stuff too. But basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be trying to catch the most fish. Fish are worth, I think, 1 victory point apiece. And yeah, there's a good setup on here too. And again, I was looking for a different picture because I was thinking of a different game. But that's one of the games you can play with this. But basically, you're going to be trying to catch as much fish as you can. And like I said, different licenses give you different powers. You might get more cards. You might allow you to launch 2 boats in 1 turn. That kind of a thing. But yeah, that's Fleet the Dice game. I mean, Fleet the Dice. I keep saying Fleet the Dice game because that's my favorite version of this game. But this is Fleet the card game. Very popular game. Definitely a lot of fun. And yeah, there it is. And there's a lot of expansions to this game too. A lot of mini expansions, which I play with some of them. And then most of them are pretty good. All right, so let's go on to the next one. It is going to be a game that ID Gesture and I have talked about a little bit, Railroad Revolution. And this game probably wouldn't be on this list. I mean, I don't have the expansion yet, but it's very hard to get. But the expansion in this, or the fixes, I guess, there's house rules in this, which there's one particular market rule, which is kind of a little bit broken, I think. But this house rule fixes it and makes it a great game. From 2016, Railroad Revolution, ranked 1,000 exactly from 2016. Probably my favorite railroad game on the list, which means it's probably the only railroad game on the list. I believe so. No, actually, I'm sorry. There's one more. There's one more that I like better. But anyway, this is Railroad Revolution, and just to show you here, which I don't have the copy of here. It's by What's Your Game. In fact, yeah, I have that over my friend's house too because I plan on playing that pretty soon. But here it is right here. So you're going to be trading shares, building depots across the bottom here, building tracks connecting these cities, getting bonuses from the cities. Up to the right here is the part that, because it said this first track here is the bonuses were too easy to get. So in order to fix it, I just added a certain amount of money in order to get these higher level things, which was recommended on Board Game Geek. But it fixes it. These other tracks are pretty cool to get too. Let me see if I can show you. You're going to be getting different types of trains. Each person can build a track here on this in between the cities. It costs more, kind of like that game that Jester and I played, the Railways of the World game. It costs you more to build on, mountainous tracks and things like that, like the green diamond and the black diamond, kind of like skiing. The more diamonds there are, the more expensive it is to build. But first person gets a certain bonus when they build into a certain city, and then there's other bonuses you can get. Just show you the player board is what's really cool in this game. So right here is your player board, which is really cool. Kind of hard to see, but you're going to be getting workers of different colors. And different colors, if you match the certain colors under the different actions, you can get bonuses to the actions that you do take. Like for instance, this is one I think is putting a station on the board. If you match a certain color, you get like a discount. Like if you put an orange one here, I think you get probably purple one here, you get a discount of 100 when you're putting it on the board. Up top here, this is where all your rails and depots go, and you're going to be taking them off, and they unlock different bonuses as you put them on the board. And if you run out of track, you run out of track. That's all you get for the whole game. But different areas right here, you saw station building, rail building, telegraph office building, and then upgrading your trains right here. Okay, and you can there's also contracts in the game. Let's see if I can find some other stuff here. So, and then you also have the thing that's hard about it too is that the different color as a workers you're going to need for different contracts. So, and you need to put them on contracts in order to score. It's very difficult. Not very difficult, but you have to manage your when you put your different colored workers on the contracts that complete them, because you won't have use of that worker for the rest of the game. So you got to have ways to get other workers. I really like the money in this game. It's not paper money. It's these little cardboard tokens here, kind of like another game I have called Pipeline, which is little cardboard tokens for the cash, which I think is neat. These are your little engines right here. Let's see if I can show you some of the contracts here. May not be able to. Oh yeah, let me just show you here. So this is kind of a game. As you can see, people are building on different tracks. Down below here is where you build your telegraph offices, and when you get link bonuses if you build on either side of the telegraph offices. There's another really cool thing in here you can trigger. You can trigger like certain events which give you discounts on you can see it right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a little bit. But in this right-hand corner there, there's like certain events that will trigger, which have two things you can do on them. The person that triggered the event can do both the discount things, and everybody else can only do one of the things. So it's kind of a neat little thing they add into the game that trigger certain events will happen during the game. Let's see if I can find it here. Probably won't. These are little bonus things you can get. Like if you go to build telegraph office here, you get a bonus where you can, I think, hire a worker of any color here for $600. Yeah, but this is Railroad Revolution. Not an overly complex game, but just enough meat on it, I think, to make it fun. These are the different contracts on the bottom here. A and B contracts, which will come out during the game. And they're usually worth a lot of points, so they're worth doing during the game. Alright, so that is my number 94. We only got 3 more to do in this list. Everybody's saying, thank goodness, because boy, is he long-winded. Anyway, like I said, they are my top 100 games, so I do have a lot to say about them, because I do enjoy every one of them. Okay, alright, so let's go to number 93 is kind of a compilation thing. This is my first sports game entry into the list. And it's by the same company. They're 2 different sports, but the way they handle the 2 different sports is very similar fashion. Now, I primarily only played these on the PC. I think I might have one of them. I know the baseball one of this series, which is not here. I do have printed out versions of that. But this is a game where if you played the PC version, then you've pretty much played the card game. I mean, the board game on it. And these are going to be, as you can see here, which I gave it away already, is Inside the Paint Basketball and Inside the Crease Hockey. Now, the reason I put them in the same part of the same thing is because the engine is very similar. In fact, the screens look not identical, but pretty close to the same, which I'll show you in a second. So let me show you here. Let's see, I don't have many pictures of this one, unfortunately. But these are the cards for the basketball. And there's only a couple on this one right here. But yeah, again, it's dice rolling and not dice rolling. You can use fast action cards for it and everything too. Again, the PC doesn't use that. And let me show you the other one. Maybe the other one's got more pictures. Probably not. No, it doesn't. That is the hockey there. So you can see the cards look fairly similar. Obviously, different types of stats. But I've definitely played a lot of these on my channel, especially earlier on. And I do like to play them a lot. Let me see if I can find a quick picture. Let's see here. Inside the Crease Hockey game. Alright, so let me see if I can find an image of that. Here we go. So I'm going to show you here. Let's see if I can show you bigger. Yeah, that's about as big as I'm going to get. Okay. Well, anyway, this is how. And if I show you the basketball, which I'm going to show you now. looks very much the same as far as the layout goes and everything. It's got the players here. It doesn't have the goalie, of course, in this one because it's the basketball. But I'll show you this one since ID Gesture already showed you the other one on his channel. But yeah, this is basically it's a really cool game. Again, uses fast action cards, and it does take a long time to play them though. They do, like Eddie said. I think and that's kind of the reason why I don't do them on my channel as much anymore, because it would take me. I think I got it down to like an hour and a half, I think, for a game, which is still kind of long. But when I first started doing it, it was well over 2 hours the games were, and it was just way too long. And I felt like I played a basketball or a hockey game in it. But just to show you this again, yeah, hockey one right here. Out of the two, I don't know. I kind of like both in different ways. I probably played a little bit more of the hockey ones because it's easier to me to get the flow down for it. The fouls and everything for the other one are very hard to get down for the basketball. So this one's probably a little bit easier to me. I get the flow down for it, but they're both really cool games. So that's 93 inside the paint basketball and inside the crease hockey. All right, so I think I'm getting a little faster on this now. All right, so number 92 is The Colonists. So this is a game where it's kind of it's a scenario type game, but it's a kind of a campaign game where you're playing different modules. And this game, the reason it's not higher is because it is a beast to set up. As you can see here, these are all the pieces for the game. It's a beast, so you really need an organizer for this game. But let me show you the game itself. These are storage solutions, which of course are a big thing in this game. Let me see if I can show you the actual game setup here. Yeah. As you can see, people spend a lot of time setting up this game. So let me see if I can find a thing that's set up for it. Yeah. Alright, so this is kind of a good idea here. So there's different areas you're going to be playing through, in which each area you unlock different professions, like farming, I think, and factory working, and eventually it goes into other areas. See if I can get you a bigger picture. Yeah. So this is your player board, and you're going to be building these farms here. You're going to be producing goods. You're going to be... Now, the storage in this game, storing your goods can be very difficult. You have to have workers that are... You have to put workers in your storehouses here, and you have to build them, of course, first. But this only holds 2 goods each one. Some of them will hold more goods. You can use tools to modify things. Like I said, it's from era to era. You're going to be keeping the same board, and these are different goods you're producing right here on these tiles here. Up top are certain cards you can get to give you special bonus powers and stuff. I want to show you the actual, yeah, this is kind of, I want to show you an actual layout of the, yeah, here it is. Here's a good one. So this right here is probably towards the end of the era of the game. So each era, you're going to be starting with basically, see this little yellow area here in the middle? That's like a hub here. And you're going to be starting with, I think, a set of 4 or 5 different tiles, which give you different abilities to build different buildings or get different resources or get cards or whatever. And you're going to be starting off these little hubs here. And I think you can move a certain amount each turn, I believe it is. It's been a while since I played it. I did watch a little preview video on this right before I did this video, just to give it. But each round, different building, and you always get a preview of what building is going to come out. And the person who's the first player is going to get to place the tiles around these different hubs here. These yellow hubs here, you have to build. They can't be next to each other. They have to be a certain distance apart. And you can do kind of like a teleporting between one hub to another. I think if you have a certain card that lets you or something like that. But these are going to allow you to build different buildings on your player board. And again, they get bigger and bigger each round and unlock different abilities. So how you move around here with your pawns is very important. You can block other people out, from what I know. You can also play this solo. There's a solo version, which I only played the solo, but I have watched videos on the multiplayer, and it does look very interesting. I would like to try this, but again, the thing that keeps us down so far and not higher is the storage and the setup and everything. I have like tons of little baggies. I really need to get and this is the only game I've ever said this about, probably, is you really need a storage solution which allows you to pull out certain tiles like that and fast. Because the setup in this game can be a real bear. But anyway, let me just show you a couple more pictures if they're there. But it's a very fun game. Like I said, you can play it over 4 or 5 eras. This is kind of near the end of the era there, how things are set up. So up top is where you move around, and then, but it's just it's a table hog, and it's different. It's just I'm getting nightmares just looking at this of the times I played it. But it is a very fun game, very engaging game, and I definitely recommend checking this out. And this is kind of up top is a map here. It looks like somebody decided to use a map instead of the actual tiles, which might be a solution too. But yeah, it's another example there. Fully built out farm here. But again, you need one of these Plano cases. That's another way you can do it, or an insert. So these cards right here with the yellow token, that's kind of like a year marker. So you play over 5 years for one era, and you keep track of them like this. I think you have certain, like 3 moves, I think it is, or 3 or 5 moves or something like that per era. It's kind of a little bit like if you ever played Fields of Arle, like a summer and winter phase. I think these are summer and winter phases. And then it does have very good player aids to describe stuff. What's another real cool thing, which I almost forgot to mention, was you can hire and unlock different colonies. So you can have colonies that help you to get goods, and they'll give you bonus goods depending upon what level your colony is built up to. But very cool mechanisms in this game, and but definitely a beast of a game to try to get out here. I'll show you a few more of those. Tons and tons of tokens. Looks like somebody organized them right there. That's probably a good idea too. But yeah, definitely, but a fun game nonetheless. If you can bear the setup. Look at all those tiles there. It's just insane. All right, so that is the Colonist, my number 92, and last one on the list here. If you're still here, I'll give you kudos. Last one, I do not have a game here. It's a game that we play quite often. It's by Henry Audubon. Yes, from the Audubon Society. And it is a very extremely well-produced game called Parks. And it's, again, another family-friendly game. Rank 126 overall, so it's ranked really high up. It does have a couple expansions. I have one of the expansions. I don't have all of them, but I do have one, the 10th expansion, I think it is. But again, this is all the cards in the game, and the artwork in this game and the production value of the inserts and everything is top notch in this one. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. So let me show you an actual game setup here. These are just all the cards somebody listed. They're not actually how you play the game. Let me see if I can find the actual game setup here. Let's see here. Here we go. I think it's right. There we go. All right, so this is kind of an example of the game setup. So on the bottom here, you're going to be is your trail, and this is randomized from this stone arch here to the end of the trail, and this will be different. I think you play 4 rounds. I want to say it's either 4 or 5. I think it's 4 rounds. So you have 2 hikers, and they're going to be going along the path here. You're going to be trying to visit parks, collect resources, and then visit the parks, which there's only 2 on this one, but there's 3 available at any time, or you can pick one off the top of the deck. And you're going to be fulfilling their needs with, like, you have to have a certain amount of sun tokens or water tokens or whatever. There's canteens you can get. There's gear you can get to keep you occupied. To get your resources or allow you to have certain abilities. Let's see if I can find another picture here. These are your example of your 2 hikers. And what's cool about this game is at the end of the trail, once everybody except for once one person has both their hikers at the end of the trail, then everybody else will only have one more turn. So it's kind of like how fast or how slow do you go. And you can only move one direction on each trail. You can share different parts of the trail with other campers as long as you have a campfire token, which you haven't used, which you can use once per turn unless you have an ability, and once per round unless you have something that breaks the rule. Yeah, this is a good setup right here. So you have 3 parks right here. Your gear down below, which you spend sun tokens for, which I think this is actually you can play it solo. There's a good solo variant for this, which you'll be going against another pair of AI hikers. So ID, you'll like this for that. Again, these trays right here and the tokens on it, they're wooden tokens, and these trays are top notch. It comes with 2 of them, and they're super cool. You can also take pictures on your trail, which you can use this camera for. You get extra victory points for taking pictures. And at the end of the trail, whoever has the camera gets to take a picture and get points. This is the really cool metal first player token. More screen printed camp hikers there. But yeah, the production value is what sold me on this game. And then every round is weather conditions. So there will either be sun or water tokens on each one. And above this, those are the gear things. Now, the only knock I really have on this game is the gear tokens. If you go through them, I think they're somewhat imbalanced, because the powers, like this, they cost 1, 2, or 3 suns. And depending upon, I've kind of gone through them a little bit, and it seems like some of the abilities for the 3-star ones are not as good as some of the 2-star ones or the 1-star ones. That's just my opinion. And I think a couple people that I played it with kind of like agree with me to a certain degree. But it doesn't take away from the game at all. It's a light enough game. Definitely family friendly. A friend of mine's mother, who's like in her 70s, likes 60s or 70s, likes to play this game a lot, and she's not even a board gamer. But the artwork just draws you in. The production value is great. And again, this is why it's my number 91. So that is it. I'm going to take it to the top here. Let's see if we can bring the camera in. All right. So this is number 91. Just the proof that I have the Year of the Dragon. And then this game right here, let me just show you the columns. They are not lying. You got tons of little rule books, which are very well laid out. You get a nice score pad, but I mean, it's just bags and bags and bags of stuff. And again, that's the main reason why it doesn't get played more often, because it's just and the chits are decent quality, not the greatest quality, but they're okay. There's just so much stuff in this game. And the box is, like I said, huge. And it is an expensive game. I can get it on sale for like $40, $45, but it does normally run around like $70. So it is a little expensive to get. But that's it. That is my number 100 to 91. The next video hopefully won't take as long because the first one probably is going to take a little longer, because, like I said, I like to talk about games, and I'm not doing it live, so I'm not really rushed. So anyway, I'm just going to end it here. So stay tuned, and probably within the next... I've got next week off from on April vacation, so I'll probably try to do a video maybe like Monday or Tuesday next week, and catch up to ID. So that way I'll get 2 videos in, and then he'll do 2 next week, and I'll probably do that weekend. Or if I find extra time, I'll maybe try to do some on the same nights he does, just record them differently. But that's 100 to 91, Higher Ground Gaming's 100 board games as of April 23rd of all time. So hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below if you have any opinions or what you think about the different games. You agree, disagree, or if you've played the games before, or anything else. So take care, God bless, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.